Welcome to Without a Doubt, the podcast where we explore the transformative journey of breaking cycles and embracing our truest self. I'm Mad, a cycle breaker, freelancer, and a sprinkle of reality. Each week, we dive into conversations that challenge conventional thinking and inspire personal growth. Here, you'll find practical tips to help you navigate your own path towards authenticity. Whether you're looking to overcome limiting beliefs, create meaningful change in your own life, or simply live more authentically, you're in the right place. So get ready to break the cycles that are holding you back and start living a life that is truly reflecting who you are meant to be. I think most people look forward to holiday events, but for me, I do not. To the point that just last week, my own mom essentially didn't want to even include me in her Thanksgiving plans. I do have work on Thanksgiving, but she said, "You don't care, right?" And I don't care about being there necessarily for Thanksgiving, but I do care about being included. I have more or less removed myself from most of the family functions. I no longer attend any big family things, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I do have a larger side on one side of my family, and it doesn't really feel like family to me. We kind of all feel like strangers, tied together by blood. We are born into a family. We don't choose the people in our family. I find Thanksgiving to be one of those dinners where people sit down for a meal, hold hands, say what they're thankful for, all while being a sour-ass human 99% of the rest of the year. Maybe I'm salty over Thanksgiving though. It used to be one of my favorite holidays until I realized this celebration, dinner of gratitude, is something that we actually need to hold far more often. Thanksgiving is one of these holidays we celebrate surrounded by gratitude. On this one day of the year, I always ask myself, how grateful are these people on a daily basis? I know myself, I work on gratitude daily. It's a pillar of life for me. I have a daily gratitude journal that I write in. I've actually been writing in that journal for 7 years. This year, I started a weekly gratitude journal where I would write more lengthy things or bullet points, whatever that I missed in my other journal. And then that weekly gratitude journal somehow turned into a gratitude junk journal where I started collecting trash from my week. And it's like a collage. I think about how much grace I've actually given myself to sit down and craft weekly. Rest in doing crafts is very hard for me, as much as I love to do both. Oftentimes I'm thinking that I'm wasting time. But doing things for you isn't wasting any time. I found a ton of gratitude in learning how to take these little breaks. My journaling has opened up other little avenues of light and love for me, but it has also allowed me to sink into my week and be able to go back, check out what happened, and find gratitude and feelings over and over again. If you don't have any kind of notes, journaling, projects that focus on the good in your life, I highly recommend starting this. The pockets of joy sometimes go missing, and I can flip open my little book in my journal and find that again. How often do you think about what you're actually grateful for? There are a handful of times in my day or during certain practices I tune into what I am grateful for. For example, during hot yoga, I always say or think of 6 things that I'm grateful for. It's as simple as I am alive. I do this during a pumping warrior sequence where we slow down, move, and breathe. Well, that is yoga. But in a space where I'm clearing my body, my mind, and reconnecting to my center, I allow myself to give gratitude. And once again, it is that simple. This time of year, the holidays brings a lot of FOMO, fear of missing out. Missing out on family things, like not being included. Like how my mom assumed I wouldn't want to be included in Thanksgiving dinner. Also, let's not just assume someone is going to say no. People who say no still say yes sometimes. And they want to be included. They want to make their own decisions on whether or not they want to actually partake. The feeling someone has when they're invited, even if they don't plan to go, is inclusion. We all want to feel included. When someone thinks of you, when someone invites you, you are someone who has been thought of. To be loved is to be known. It is more or less along those lines. But then this also leads me down to JOMO, the joy of missing out. And I have felt this so much more in this past year. Learning appreciation for not being included is sometimes actually the greatest gift. Some dinners, places, we're not actually meant to be a part of. Sometimes we want to be there thinking, oh, I should have been included. But those tables were never for us. We have other tables that we can sit at, and we can learn that other tables are equally just as cool. We aren't actually missing out. The joy of missing something is actually a bigger feeling. My grandma was invited to a very large Thanksgiving dinner, and she opted out for a very small 4-person Thanksgiving dinner because she has JOMO. She says the large dinner is great, it's fun, but she prefers to eat on her own time, celebrating her own way in her own joy. She's grateful she's thought of, included, but she can make her own decisions on partaking. This same grandma and her boyfriend often call me to meet them for lunch or dinner. This has actually turned into like a bi-weekly thing. My grandma's friends also ask us to go to dinner with them. The gratitude I hold for this simple gesture honestly means the world to me. And I always leave these dinners loaded with appreciation, compassion, love, and my heart feels ready to explode. It feels so special that my grandma's friends want us to join them. They are literally all 80 and 90 years old. We are 50 plus years apart, yet these dinners are loaded with a seriously good time and so many laughs. I find so much gratitude in these bi-weekly meetups that attending Thanksgiving just seems forced. Everyone else is having Thanksgiving dinner, so let's do it too. Having this one dinner does not make you grateful for the whole year. Gratitude has to be practiced regularly in order to reap the wholesome benefits. You'll start to see these smaller gestures as larger ones. You'll find sparkles in the mediocre, and you'll find the silver lining in the deep, dark bucket. Gratitude is something that only becomes possible when you actually are grateful. Grateful is often seen as like a natural, positive response to life's blessings. For many people, feeling or expressing gratitude can be really challenging. It's difficult. The difficulty in practicing gratitude is linked to a lot of things like physiological, emotional, social, and situational factors. People often tend to focus more on what they don't have or what they're lacking rather than what they do have. This is a very common cognitive bias, often referred to as scarcity mindset. This is where a lot of people are lacking gratitude. The mind is so fixated on needs or deficiencies instead of really appreciating the abundance or progress of what has been made or you have. During these bigger family gatherings, I find most relatives talking about their highlights with all the goodness going on. It's very rare that someone's gonna get vulnerable at Thanksgiving and say, hey, I'm depressed. During these bigger family gatherings, I find most relatives talking about their highlights and all the goodness going on. Rarely are you gonna find someone at your Thanksgiving table telling you that they're depressed and they're gonna get vulnerable. That's not gonna happen. In times that we're celebrating others' discomfort, negative thoughts, we tend to just connect less, living more on the surface. The times I am able to get in these deep conversations, hear legit life stories, and real talk is when it's more personal than a Thanksgiving dinner, especially because this dinner is focused on gratitude. It's hard to have gratitude when your ship is sinking. It's hard to be happy when the world feels like it's on fire. And man, is it hard to be thankful when everyone else seems to be doing better than you. Why not you? Our mindset, our gratitude, our outlook, though, is how we change that scarcity mindset, because it can be you. If you're constantly thinking about what you don't have, whether financial security, fulfilling relationship, career success, it can overshadow the ability to recognize what you already possess. Some of us don't have the biggest houses or the newest cars, but we have far happier relationships than our family members. Some of us may not have as much money, but we're living life on our terms. That's the life that you're living. It's easier to compare versus really think about what we actually have. All of a sudden, the car that you have, the home that you own, the trips that you have taken are not nearly as great as that other person's who just traveled for 62 days and got to see the entire world. It's a lie. Your life and how we live it isn't meant to be compared. We are meant to live. At the end of each day, we have to lay our heads down knowing we walked through each day doing the very best we can for ourselves and to leave this place better than we even started. Finding grace, gratitude, glory in who we are. Loving what we're becoming and forever seeking to be our authentic soul. Sometimes that means finding gratitude in the big family dinners or the lack of, the gratitude of doing what you need for you. All I know is that if more people walk through their days, weeks, months with the gratitude that they carry on Thanksgiving, the world would be a better place. More gratitude breeds a world of more connectedness, understanding, and love. More gratitude leads us to a life of blessings and goodness. May you have a thanks for the life that you're living, the air you breathe without even thinking, the birds that chirp and remind you not to worry, and the ability to just be yourself. Gratitude should always be your attitude. Don't forget that you are without a doubt a badass. I will see you next week. I hope you have a very great holiday. Go out, be grateful, and share the love. See you next week. Bye. XOXO. Hey, and by the way, if you love this podcast, let me remind you that you sharing this is one of the greatest ways to help my podcast just grow. If you don't already follow this, hit the follow button. Give it a rating. Do something with this that can help this go from where I am now to somewhere greater. You have the ability to help me be a bigger podcaster. I love you for being here, and you can always find me on YouTube, Instagram, or anywhere you listen to your podcasts. See you around and catch you next time. Bye.